Welcome back to the podcast with me, Pete Tigers. It's 5:45. We left at 5 o'clock. We're heading up the M3. I'm with my good friend Paul Langford, who somebody I've known many, many years now. I spent the night with him in Hampshire. I drove over to Hampshire yesterday, late afternoon, early evening. Sat in the garden. It's hot. So we sat in the garden, had a glass of wine, talked about life with him and his wife, Belinda. It's Italy. We're heading back to Italy this morning. We're driving to Heathrow Airport. We're going to Friuli. So we're going to be on the Austrian-Slovenian border. We're going to see if we can find some marble trout. Some of the guys are flying down from Manchester. We fly into Venice. Then we meet there. Vito's there to meet us. And then we drive for about an hour or so into the mountains. And then tomorrow we fish. But kind of exciting, right, mate?
Absolutely buzzing, Pete. I mean, we're up early. I'm buzzing maybe because no sleep because of the heat last night, or maybe because hitting the coffee at 4:45. But really looking forward to it. So we're closing in on Heathrow and hopefully everything runs smoothly.
Some of the guys are already there. So Mark's already there. You may have heard my phone pinging in the background. So we're going to get there about 6 o'clock or so. So then we're all checked in, bags through, quick another top-up cup of coffee, hopefully something to eat as well, and then jump on the flight and go from there. So 3 days we're out there. We've got a great team. We've got a couple of new people joining us. I think it's only Paul that's been to Friuli. So it's only him who's been there. So it's always nice and exciting to show somebody somewhere new. It's great fun fishing, mixture of pocket water fishing, lower rivers. I think there's some grayling as well. It suddenly dawned on me that I've been fishing Italy, I think 4 or possibly 5 years now, and I've not caught an Italian grayling. So I think that's going to be my target species for this trip. Weather's going to be warm over there too. They've got plenty of water in the rivers. The temperature's not going to be an issue. They run off of mountains, so the water temperature is going to be absolutely fine. So we'll see what the guys have got planned for us. But yeah, excitement levels are pretty high right now. The flight was a little bit delayed, but we got there. The new European customs thing was absolutely fine. The Italians couldn't have been more friendly or helpful as well, despite the fact there was a bunch of American planes had come in as well. But we got through really, really quickly. The drive to the hotel, it's about an hour, just over an hour, something like that. You suddenly veer off the motorway and you head up into the mountains. And we had some drinks, had a nap, met for dinner. I fell asleep for a bit, and I had a message from Ivan that woke me up from my slumber saying I'm downstairs. So the shower I planned didn't happen. I came down, gave him a hug. We called up. He'd been out with some American guests who had caught some fish. They were absolutely thrilled, absolutely loved it. We had dinner, and in the end, I think it was Darren, Sean and I were just talking about life, what fishing means to us, and a little bit more. And then I was up early, and Sean again beat Darren and I up. Darren and I have got this lovely little routine that started in a lodge in Montana 12, 13 years ago. And we'd get up early, have a cup of coffee together and just chat. And I messaged him this morning and just said, "You about?" And he said 5 minutes. So there's a cafe below the hotel. So we had some coffee there, had breakfast. We're standing in a cool, clear water. I'm wet wading this year. It's the first time I've done it. I got some thermal leggings to fish in from wading waters. It's been a game changer for me. Really, really fantastic to be able to fish this way. And although these streams are cold, clear mountain streams, I don't feel in the slightest bit cold at all. So I'm really, really pleased with how this has worked out. I'm looking downstream. Paul is fishing with Francesco downstream. I fished on my own for a little bit. I left the guys, and what I like to try and do on these trips is fish with as many people as possible. And everyone paired up, and Sean and Paul were fishing together, and I joined them. And we have fished a beautiful stretch of river. It's probably 25 feet across, 30 feet across. And what we've been looking primarily for marble trout, but they're hybrid trout. They're a brown trout. There's no stocking here. So in some places, perhaps nearby, there is stocking in the rivers that takes place, but none of that happens here. They're all wild fish, dry flies. I've got to admit something. If you're a regular listener to the podcast, you know that it's dry fly for me all the way, but I'd fished the pool with the dry dutifully, diligently. Nothing had happened, so I hung a nymph on and got myself off the mark, but that was fine. Just to say I'd been there. I thought I might not fish this pool again, and I wanted to see if I can catch a fish, so it was a nice way to get off the mark. And then I switched to the dry. I've been fishing a heavy CDC Caddis dry fly. By heavy, I mean it's got a lot of CDC on it, so it floats really, really well. It's got a bright orange butt on, bright lime green butt on it. I was working on the basis it might bring a fish up, and it did. Then I switched again to a Royal Wolf, good old-fashioned Royal Wolf. These flies may be pretty old, but they still work. So that's cool. And then I called up with Sean. He's off the mark and said, "Carl, let's go and fish together." So he popped a fish into a slack spot, caught a fish immediately. So that's his second of the day as well. But Sean, it's been great fun. It's been great fishing with you as well. We're just sort of sitting, waiting to see what Paul and Francesco are doing. I'm just sitting down next to you now. But how's it feel fishing these streams of Italy?
I mean, the feeling is hard to describe. It really feels like a place of paradoxes. Like on the one hand, off on the horizon, we have these giant limestone mountains that just kind of loom up on the horizon. So your focus is everywhere. You want to look in every direction and really drink it in. But then the water in front of us, it's like, to use a camera analogy, your field of vision goes from ultra wide to telephoto, and the stream itself is so captivating. And even then, it's a bit of a paradoxical place for me, because geologically, it reminds me a lot of the Highland streams that I fish up in the northwest of Scotland. Very skinny water, very fast moving. You're looking for pockets either side of boulders where there's a bit of a respite from the current. But the water itself is like from a chalk stream. So even the temperature, the air is very, very warm. The river is very, very cold. So I'm struggling to get my head around this place. It's a real mind bender of a place, but just incredible. I mean, the fish that I've caught have been modest in size, but they've come up and taken a dry fly, and they're beautiful. They just fit so well with the environment. They're beautifully camouflaged, bright fish. The ones that I've caught have been marble brown trout hybrids, so they've got the red spots from the brown trout and the kind of real the real sheen that makes them so difficult to see in the water. It's incredible. I'm in heaven. I'm in absolute heaven.
I'm so pleased to hear it. And you're a wet wader with me. The boys were giving us some friendly stick overnight, weren't they, about it? But it's been an absolute revelation. It works fabulously well, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I think we're going to have the last laugh there. I imagine the boys are cooking in their Sims waders, no matter how breathable they are. But yeah, the wet wading is just perfect for this environment. It means you get to stay kind of cold from the knees down, and get a bit of respite from this warm weather that we're having. It's the way to do it. I feel personally so connected to the river when you can really feel it pushing against your shins and your ankles. It's something that I've done in Scotland in the summer, and found it a really pleasurable way to fish, to experience the water. But here it's absolutely the way to go.
And for me, it's been, listeners will have read, if you read Trout and Salmon and Fly Culture, Sean is an extremely talented writer, and he wrote in Trout and Salmon recently, I can't remember how many issues back, 2 or so, about the jingler pattern. So you may well know him from there. But these trips are about more than the fishing. It's about the friendship, and it's your first one. Some of the people in the group have been on a number of these together, but you slotted in seamlessly, and the vibe of the trip is pretty cool too, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm really grateful to the guys who obviously have become very good friends over these multiple trips to Italy, but they've made me feel like one of the group just from the instant I met the Manchester boys at the airport. And yeah, we've been here a day and we've only started fishing now, but I haven't been itching to fish in the same way that I normally would because the company's been so good, and that's been an amazing part of the journey and an amazing part of the experience as well. So I mean, a big thank you to all the guys for making me feel so welcome and making me feel so included and putting up with my dad jokes.
They're not that bad. I've got much worse than that. But I think what we're going to do, the guys are coming upstream now, and I was going to suggest to Francesco that when he gets up to here, that what we'll do is cross the river. It looks as though it's doable just 10, 15 feet downstream from us. And then the guys can have this side, the true left bank. That's the nice thing, I'd call it a rocky freestone. Would that be a right description? So in part, it's very, very easy to wade in. And the fish are in skinny water as well. It's always worth fishing skinny water and seeing what comes up. So it's definitely worth a go. So yeah, we may do that. The guys are just working their way upstream to us now. So we'll formulate a plan and go from there. And yeah, it's just day one. And that's the nice thing, actually. Usually we roll in at night time, and it's been nice that everyone's got to know each other. Everyone's nice and relaxed when we start fishing for the day as well. So it's deeply pleasing from that point of view as well. So yeah, very, very happy. Sean and I wandered upstream, taking it in turns, sometimes splitting apart a little bit, but keeping an eye on each other. I got to more of a plunge pool. I say a plunge pool. It was probably neck deep. Water's crystal clear. I thought I might find something in there. I didn't. Got out and walked round. Two little indents into the bank up. I was fishing it's a Paul Proctor pattern, actually, the flip-flop fly. It's a foam beetle pattern. And I flipped it in close to the bank, and a fish came out and ate it. It was a good fish. It was a big fish. Decided it was going to go upstream a little bit, and then thought better of it and went straight back down into the plunge pool, ripped line off the reel. I chased it downstream a little bit. I was telling Francesco the story later, and he said, yes, there's a lot of rocks that are like teeth in there. Well, you can guess the rest. After lunch, Francesco dropped Sean and I off in a smaller stream. It was a tributary of the river that we'd been fishing in the morning. And he said to work downstream and then come up, and he'd meet us about 3 hours later. And it was really funny. It's one of those ones where you try and work out the river. One spot, one pool. I caught 2 fish, and fishing just dries pretty easily, and it sort of sets the tone. You think, right, okay, this is how it's going to all work out. And of course it didn't that way. And we were it's part of the fun sometimes, trying to work out the reason why the fish are eating. But I'm really interested. I always like to understand not why I'm catching, but why I'm not catching. And we did pick some fish up. I think we did really, really well. Stuck with the flip-flop. No reason to change, actually. So that worked really well. And we had a bunch of fish. One of the nice things coming back is seeing everyone out the front of the hotel afterwards and sharing stories, taking pleasure in hearing the other people did well. And that's part of the fun of it. And you always worry on these trips. We've got 2 new people along as well, Vaughan and Sean. And they fitted in seamlessly. And it's been really nice from that point of view. So we will have dinner, more fishing chat, some banter, and all the fun that goes along with that. I stayed out a little bit later chatting with Vito about what he's up to. I'm going to interview him as well, so learn a little bit more about that. Then the plan is to fish with Mark and Darren today. And I've been coming out here a while now, and it suddenly dawned on me that I've never caught an Italian grayling, so I shouldn't record this just in case it doesn't happen, but that, I think, will be the plan, to see if we can find one of those.
Okay.
This morning has been great fun. We visited what is near enough a chalk stream. The fish were super spooky. I've had another lesson in marble trout, and early on hooked a nice fish, thrashed around, went downstream of me, weeded me, and that was that. And we've been carefully working up the river, looking for fish, making casts where we can, but the temperature is incredibly high now. It feels as though the fish are not really looking to play with us right now. So we're going to go and have some lunch, and then the plan is to fish a different sort of stream, sort of more of a mountain stream with faster water, and that may be the answer. But I'm really thrilled that we're being guided by Marco today. And I think with this podcast as well, it's lovely talking about the fishing, but it's the people I love meeting and I love talking with them. And Marco, as well as being an excellent fishing guide, is a geologist. And he was telling us a little bit about the land here and about the rivers and those the mountains. Wherever you look around here, you'll see a mountain. But Marco, it's a beautiful part of the world that you live in, and from a geological standpoint, very, very interesting too.
Yes, it's very interesting because a lot of years ago, around 435 million years ago, here it was a sea, and after the crash of the ground, they grow the mountains, and you also find a lot of fossils like shells, like shrimps, and also like trees near there. And also the geology modified the water and the streams, because near there we have Dolomites. No? So Dolomites are very clear. There is a lot of chemical composition nearly close to the quartz and carbonatic stones. So the water is very, very blue. And now we are moving, after the lunch, we are moving to a mountain stream where we will find marbles and hybrids, a lot of hybrids.
And it's beautiful. This stream here is particularly beautiful as well. And we crossed over a bridge when we were starting fishing, and there were two of the most magnificent bridge fish that I've seen. Were they marbles or big grayling?
Are marbles. And in the other bridge, we saw a grayling, a big one, nearly close to 45 centimeters. So it's a good cast.
And what about those marbles in the bridge? They were a good size too, right?
I think about 70 centimeters.
Yeah, they're proper big fish, and they're super spooky. And because they're really not on the feed at the moment, that they're very, very spooky by nature as well. And it's a mixture of wading in the river, and it's also fishing from the bank, because it gets a little bit deeper in part and the fish sit between the weeds. And I haven't seen so many sort of holding station out in the main flow, which tells me probably there's not very much going on and they're not really looking to play at the moment. The sun, is kind of in their faces as well. So I'm sure that's got something to do with it right now. So, it's lovely to be able to report when we catch a bunch of fish, which is lovely. But to be tested by the fishing as well is interesting. And very often with these trips, being able to take something away from it is kind of nice as well. And Darren stuck with a nymph, and I put on a dry. I worked on the basis that I put a big, it's one of, I think we were using it yesterday actually, I mentioned it in an earlier segment, the flip-flop beetle, and I thought, right, okay, I'm going to dead drift it down, and then I'm going to drift it, cast it out again, and then give it a little bit of a tweak and say, look, this is something nice and big. One of the really interesting things is the amount of the damselflies as well. They're just everywhere, aren't they, Marco?
Yes, there are a lot of dragonflies over there, 1,000 miles of dragonfly, and sometimes big marble catch it nearly close to 7 p.m., 8 p.m., nearly to the sunlight goes down. I don't remember the real name in English, and I'm so sorry. But now it's completely, it's no activity, and so we must change the river. But first of all, take a lunch in a medieval town.
And the gelatos are on Uncle Pete as well, so we'll have a sandwich. The hotel prepares everything for us, and we've got a lunch. We'll eat that, and then, yeah, Uncle Pete's going to buy some gelatos for everyone, and we'll see how we get on with those. But that's the amazing thing here. You know, I think if I was just guiding this river, that would have been really problematic because conditions are tough. And I was saying to Marco, don't worry about it. You can see it's tough today. So he's called the change, and yeah, we'll hit a mountain stream and see if we can find a fish or two that wants to come up and eat a dry fly. So that's the fun of it as well. And being able to make change when we've needed to make change has been great to do. We've had lunch in Venzone, which is a town from the Middle Ages. 50 years ago, there was a massive earthquake which had a big impact on the area, and there's a church behind the medieval walls that was badly damaged. We had our gelato. It was excellent. Mark said it was probably one of the best he'd ever eaten. That was good. And we had the plan B because the chalk stream area was so very quiet. Wasn't much going on there at all. And we've headed higher up into fish some pocket water for marble trout and some hybrid trout. We've got terrestrial patterns on the Marco tied for us, big ant patterns with big orange posts that are easy to pick out in the pocket water. The stream here is at the widest, probably 12, 13 feet. It drops down relatively steeply because we're quite high. We're between the Dolomites and the Alps. It really is incredibly picturesque. Very, very warm, incredibly warm. I found a big rock stone that I'm sitting behind recording this right now. You may be able to hear the river in the background. I've worked it a little bit and it's quiet. I'm not surprised given the brightness and the temperature. Water temperature, of course, because it's running off the mountains, is cold. But it seems as though it's relatively quiet. I wonder if a cloud comes over. There's no sign of those at the moment. If something might happen. But what I'm doing is working close to the banks around rocks, any depth, any flow. Just behind me is a relatively deep pool as well, a deep, long pool. There's a man-made wall against, I guess it was to stop erosion here. And it's created a long, slightly deeper pool. But there was absolutely nothing going on in there. I haven't seen the fish. They're obviously all hiding away at the moment. The opportunist nature of these fish has been put to the background for the time being. That's the way it looks anyway right now. But yeah, pretty quiet, very, very beautiful. We'll see. And as was the case yesterday, you know, there were some pools that you think, I'm going to catch some fish here, and you did. And then there was some that you thought, I'm going to catch some fish here, and we didn't. And that's how it is. And I think the temperatures probably and the brightness and the heat is having a lot to do with that right now. So I'll keep working up. As I said, I'm sitting down, having a little bit of a breather. I'm waiting to see. Darren went downstream of me and there was a nice water. The river dropped a little bit and a series of steeper pockets. And I wonder if perhaps the fish are sitting in those at the moment. But having fished a deeper pool, I thought somebody might come have a look. But not the case so far. But beautiful, yes. Yeah, absolutely stunning. Marco, we're just packing up from the end of the day, and I just wanted to say a huge thanks to you because as somebody who used to take people fishing, I used to be a guide, I know what a tough day in the office is like, yet you found fish for us, you put us in the right spots, you made changes when they needed to be made, and it paid off. You must be pleased, but a little bit tired, right?
Yes, we are a little bit tired, but I think that the day is going well, and we catch some marbles, some browns, and now we take a beer.
That sums it up absolutely perfectly. And for me, it's been amazing that these massive, great boulders in this valley here. And I felt young. I felt energized being able to creep and leap over rocks and run up slopes and everything else. And that's what places like this do for you. And we talk so often about the mental well-being of what fishing does, and I'm experiencing it right now, almost a sense of euphoria of being in a wonderful place with wonderful people, and fish are a happy byproduct of that. But some of the rocks you were pointing out, and I said earlier that Marco is a geologist, and you were showing us these green rocks. Can you tell us a little bit about these rocks?
Yes, these rocks are coming from the mantle, so they are made by the pressure of the earth, and they grow up the melting lava, and with the pressure and high temperature crystallized and gave a special color. And it's difficult to find nearly the river, because we found a lot of layers and Dolomian rocks. So it's beautiful when you saw it.
So I'm saying being, energized by something, but I'm being energized by something that's come from the center of the earth, and that's absolutely extraordinary. And again, another reason why I love it so much here. So I'm with my old friend Darren, and we've done loads of fishing together over the years, and we've been fishing together today, and it's been one of those days that we were just saying, I was talking with Marco, and he called the changes, put us in the right spots, had a roll of the dice, and it all worked. And it's nice. At the end of the day, everyone's done really, really well, and we're pretty happy anglers. But it's been one of those ones that we've had to work at it, haven't we?
It's been a tough day, isn't it? I mean, the conditions it is really hot. And we're fishing in a valley that's white rocks, and you get the reflection off there. It is so hot. The river's really, really low. It's really clear. The fish are spooky. I'm not sure fishing gets harder than this, but when you get something in this scenery, in this place, it is, it's all worth it. And yeah, what a great day. Just been a great day.
Yeah, I look up the river and there are mountains. I look down the river and there are mountains. There are pockets, there are boulders. Yeah, happy. So it's last day. We started a little bit earlier. I'm fishing with Vaughan and Peter this morning, and superbly guided by Francesco. Where are we today, my friend?
So everything is good, thank you. Today we are fishing in the Slizza River. We are in the small village of Tarvisio. In this place, the border of Italy, Austria and Slovenia, they meet. So we are fishing in a fantastic natural canyon. And we are trying to catch some Danubian brown trouts that are completely different from the Atlantic brown trouts. They are more gray, more silver, and less spotted. The water, like you see, is perfectly clear. You can see the fish, but the fish can see you, so everything is more difficult. But it's very exciting to do sight fishing on all wild fish, because here is forbidden by the law to put inside river the brown trout. So these brown trouts, they stay there since centuries. And that's all. That's all. I'm very happy to guide another time a group with Pete. This is an honor for me. And that's all.
And it's been amazing so far as well that we're standing the four of us watching. Vaughan hooked a lovely fish that came up, looked at the dry and was on briefly. And yeah, like you say, the ability, and I often say on this podcast with chalk streams, with clear crystal water, seeing the fish, the reaction of the fish is something really, really special. And this is, we're right in this valley here, and It's just absolutely stunning. Huge rocks, crevices, trees encroaching right down the valley here, and a crystal clear stream with some beautiful, beautiful fish in them.
Record that bit.
We've had our last dinner. We've had a great afternoon fishing a small stream for some feisty rising trout, and it has been great. But this trip, like many of these, has just transcended that, and it's become about friendship. It's become about laughing. We think after 3 days we're starting to go slightly feral as well, but it's been great fun. And Vaughan has come along. This is his first trip. Have you enjoyed yourself, mate?
Yeah, I've had a great time, Pete. Yeah, no, really great time. And we can hear by the sound in my voice, we just finished dinner on the third night. And yeah, it's just great to sort of kick back after 3 great days. The conditions were tough at times, but the fishing was great. But these trips, well, it's the first trip for me, but this trip, it's really about the people ultimately. Yeah, you come and you want to fish, and you do fish, and there's very professional people who take you to the right places, and you experience lots, and maybe talk about that in a second. But fundamentally, it's about the people that you spend the time with, and the guides. The guides are tremendous. I mean, their knowledge, obviously, and their passion is really what shines. And spending time, walking up mountain streams, not just learning about the fishing, but hearing the passion about the environment, the flora, the fauna, everything that feeds into the experience that you sort of see, and it's visceral. It's tremendous. But the fishing has been superb, and we must come back to that as well, because it's the sort of the main vehicle where we're here. And I didn't come to tick any lists. I just came to just have an experience. But given the area we're in, you can tick lots of boxes. I've caught marble trout, I've caught hybrid marble brown trout, tremendous brown trout, I've caught Danubian brown trout, and when you spend more time here and you get to the right places, the list would continue, fishing for more fish in different ways. So I would highly recommend anybody, if they've got an inkling of an idea, they want to go and explore other parts of the world, near, like Europe, it's so easy to get here, or far, then this would be a great place to start. So yeah, no, do it. Don't just think about it, do it. But choose who you do it with, and choose the people you go with. And that was what makes the experience all the best.
Yeah, it's been wonderful to have you along, and you've slotted in absolutely fantastically. And we fished together today with Peter as well, fishing a slightly bigger stream for you, as you said, Danubian trout, which are absolutely stunning. And then in the afternoon, hitting a smaller stream. What have been the highlights for you, though, from a fishing perspective? Has it been the slightly bigger rivers, the more intimate ones? What have you enjoyed the most?
Definitely the smaller rivers, definitely. And it's not necessarily what I fish at home. I do fish smaller rivers, and I get a real joy out of that, and I think I want to fish more and more. So yes, absolutely, fishing the smaller rivers has been the highlight for me. And it's about learning, isn't it? It's always about learning. It's about new experiences, challenging yourself, and fishing the smaller rivers is more of a challenge because it's not my norm, but it's been a great one. And there's been a measure of success, and and the environment and the challenge. Again, back to the challenge. It's really what sort of excites me about what can you experience. What more sort of can you do in terms of learning, and then applying that learning and knowledge in what is a wonderful environment. Ultimately, so yeah, I feel very fortunate, and yes, it's been fantastic, and that would be my highlights for sure.
And it's been great to have you along, mate. So thank you so much for coming along.
No, thank you, Pete. It's been tremendous. Yeah, look forward to doing it again one day.
Peter is a veteran of these trips now, and it's been wonderful to see him fish the tenkara rod. And I think we've talked about it on previous Italian Job podcasts, but he's still stuck with it. And it was easy for people to say it's been a fad, but even the guides were saying how wonderfully you were manipulating, working the flies with great effect and catching fish. And for you, it's very much still an important part of your arsenal, tenkara fishing, isn't it?
It's still my main go-to method of fishing when I can use it on smaller rivers, and this trip has been absolutely fantastic for it. The first day couldn't use it really because we're on the big river, but the following 2 days used it throughout the day, and it's been absolutely spectacular, the rivers. And it's worked. Doing lots of little pocket water and stuff like that, and that's what Tenkara is all about. Although there's lots of trees around, they're well away from the rivers. You don't have this problem with high casting, which you have to do with Tenkara rods. And I was able to drop these flies into little pocket waters behind stones and rocks, and pull out some of the fish that the other guys, not saying they can't get at it because of the fast flow of the river. You can drop a fly in, but it's soon whipped away. With the Tenkara rod, you can just leave it there and manipulate it in the current and sort of hopefully catch a fish behind those rocks, So yeah, there's not many of us around Tenkara fishers, but I'm still with it. Been doing it for I don't know 6, 7, 8 years now, or maybe a bit longer than that, and I still love it. I still love the simplicity of the equipment and the flies, although the techniques are not quite so simple. But the rod is just a rod with a bit of line and a tippet and a fly at the end of the day, and I still love that. I still like going out with just a Tenkara rod, a little box of flies, and that's me for the day. So, yeah.
That sounds absolutely perfect to me, and it was lovely seeing you fish a slightly bigger river with the Tenkara today, and then, like you say, fishing a small tumbling mountain stream. Both, you looked at home on both of them. Did you have a favourite today?
I like the small streams. I mean, I'll probably always like small streams because I like them anyway. Just because I like those types of waters. And at home, I tend to fish smaller rivers rather than the big rivers. Although I've got access to the Dee, but when I'm on the Dee, I don't fish Tenkara rod because the Dee is too big for it. It doesn't really suit that sort of river. But these rivers today, although some of them are big and quite wide, there's lots of little pocket water. They're not like a big English river that's going to flow through. There's lots of big boulders and stones, so you get these eddies and things going around the back of them. So as long as you can get to them, you can still pop a fly into those little pockets behind big rocks. And I just love it. It's been absolutely brilliant. This is the 4th time now I've been to Italy, and I would think this is probably the best trip we've had. They've all been bloody brilliant, let's be honest, but this is probably just a little bit better than the others.
Yeah, it's been great to have you along, and we'll see if we can keep continuing these. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, let's hope we do it again.
So there've been times where sometimes you get to a pool and it's a little bit deeper, and I've hung a nymph off, and it's paid dividends for me. We really enjoy to fish the dry fly, which we do most of the time, but there's sometimes situations where you've got to mix things up a little bit, and the guides have been great that they've let us do our own little thing at times as well, which has been really encouraging. And Sean is a streamer enthusiast as well, and you've got quite a story to tell, haven't you?
Yeah, so it was one of those classic one that got away fishing stories, but we've done a lot of fishing, varied fishing, but catching a marble trout has been a real priority, I think, for everyone on the trip. And I caught a small one on the first day, and fancied catching a bigger one. Not that there was anything lacking in my experience, but just because they're here and they're a unique fish and they look so beautiful, I'd kind of hoped to catch a bigger marble trout. So the opportunity came on the afternoon of today, which was our last day, and we were taken to a river which you and I, Pete, had fished the first morning. Totally different conditions. The water had dropped considerably from the river that we were fishing, and none of the techniques and the approaches that had worked on the first day worked today. But the river had some very, very deep pools, and I found myself coming up on one with the ticking clock. There was about half an hour to go before I had to be back at the car to meet the other guys. And I thought, I fished the streamer at home. Marble trout are large, predatory creatures. You only have to look at their heads to know that they grow big by eating other things that swim in the rivers. So I put on a streamer and gave it a go in the first pool. Didn't have anything, and carried on up. There was a set of rapids between the first pool and then the rest of the river, and without much expectation, I just chucked it into the frothy water at the bottom of a plunge pool and saw a marble trout follow my streamer down on the first cast. So I chucked it in again and the line went tight, and this fish started dancing around the pool. It led me on a merry jig, first of all trying to bury its head in the waterfall at the top, then running down the pool and running towards me and running away. And the power of the fish, at no point was I under any control whatsoever. I wasn't able to exert my influence on that fish whatsoever, and it must have stayed on for about 30 seconds, and then the inevitable thing happened. The fish got itself wrapped around a rock. It was very, very fast water, and we parted ways. So in some ways it was like a fitting end to the trip. I got to experience what I wanted to experience, which was to hook a marble trout, and the fact that I didn't quite land it left me really, really hungry for more. So yeah, it was a perfect way to end. I got so much respect for these fish, and one day I'm sure I'll put a big one on the bank.
There'll always be another trip.
I hope so.
I'm standing now with Ivan, who's a bear of a man and has been an outstanding guide on this trip, along with the team that worked with him. But, as a guide, we're sort of all talking about the amazing fishing we've had, but as somebody who's done guiding myself as well, this has been tough conditions, but you guys have done an amazing job. But do you worry about that when you see the conditions and the heat and everything else? I know the water temperatures were really, really low, so the fish weren't in any trouble whatsoever, but the heat was challenging. But you guys pulled it out the bag, didn't you?
So first of all, as the last year, sorry for my bad English, and sorry, Pete, that you continue and constantly try to ruin your good podcast with my interview. Yeah, sorry, it's my Italian joke. Yeah, in these days we had, I think, all around Europe some tremendous, as I call it, heat wave of hot, tremendous. It's so wet, and I think the fishing activity, the best moments are early in the morning till 11, and then they stop completely. So we had hard days. So also our clients that now I can call new friends had some difficulties, but with some knowledge, with some help from us, I think they are everyone happy about that. I think so. I hope so. We do our best.
You did an amazing job, and like you say, it got tougher in the afternoon, but that didn't mean anyone packed up early. We were out on the river and we were still catching fish as a result of that. So I'd like to say a huge thank you for looking after us so well. Yet again, it's been an amazing trip, and you guys have been such an important part of it, so thank you.
Yeah, we are friends now, so such a pleasure.
With my old friend Mark, who I've known a long, long time now, and this is his second trip, I think, to Italy. He came last year as well, but it's been some fun, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. What a trip. Amazing place. Absolutely loved it. And, the bunch of guys that we're here with, what a good bunch. I mean, really, loved every single minute. It's been very good to meet some new people and share our passions. Loved it.
And it's been really good fun, and we've been joking a little bit earlier and stuff, and I know how much you've enjoyed to fish the dry fly as well, and I was just talking to Ivan about it, and conditions haven't been easy. We haven't seen huge hatches actually, have we? But you've 100%, along with some of the others, stuck with that dry fly, and it's paid off for you fantastically well, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been quite good. It's been tough. The water levels are very low. We would have liked to have seen a bit more water in there. No real visible hatches, a few bits and bobs coming off. But also, interestingly, some of the rivers that we've been on, there isn't much in the way of fly life. And terrestrials are the way to go, and it's been quite interesting trying to use ant patterns, which I haven't done before, and have come up with the goods.
Well, it's been great to catch up with you. It's been great to have you along on this one. Thanks so much for coming along.
Thanks for having me, Pete.
Well, Vito, that's the end of a trip. It's late. We're sitting outside drinking. We're talking. There's a lot of laughing you've probably heard in the background. I think we pulled it off, right?
It has been amazing as usual. Now, I think that, at least for me, recording this podcast after a few grappa, it's not a great strategy, let me tell you. But, the feeling is like the last day of the holiday, also for me. So it's always a bit bittersweet. but I know it has been great fishing, and it's really a bunch of friends enjoying, talking about fishing, talking about and lying about, a lot of things as anglers do. It has been amazing, Pete.
Yeah, I've loved every second. I think, it's been such an amazing group and been a lot of fun. But I know you're so incredibly busy. And what have you been up to? What else are you up to away from the rivers of Friuli right now?
So first of all, I'm always, strive to improve this kind of service. To call it service, for me, is not the best word I can use because, for us, it's passion. If we wouldn't have that passion, we would struggle, honestly. So to improve all our destination in Italy, and after this I will go back down to central Italy, southern Tuscany for the sea bass in a shallow lagoon, which is like a tropical flat actually, but instead of the permit there is the gilded brim. Instead of the GT we got the big sea bass, and instead of the ram you got the Chianti. But it's like to be on a tropical flat down there, and that's where I do most of my guiding, but still inventing new destination, new combination that we might enjoy together here in the Dolomite and the Alps.
And as I've often said on here, that Vito's one of the good guys. So if you've listened to this, and we're planning a trip for next year as well, that I think is going to be fantastic. Let me know if you might be interested. But support people like Vito. They're good people doing good things, and they care not just about providing the service, but they care deeply about the environment, about the fish, everything else that goes with it. So if people want to contact you, Vito, how do they find you?
So if you want to see and to take a peek about our destination, the best way is to www.italyonthefly.com. And me personally, I am on the social. On Instagram, I'm fishing with Vito, or Vito Rubino, which is my name and surname on Facebook. A bit old school. We are all a bit old school. So yeah, I would say those are the best ways.
Well, mate, thank you again for an amazing trip. Keep doing what you're doing. You're the maestro.
Thanks a lot, Pete, and really thank you, because you saw that all this energy comes from passion with a look on the environment, because we really care about, we know that without the ecosystem we live in, we wouldn't be nothing. So thanks for understanding that and to see all this energy we put into that.
So that is the end of another Italian job trip. Weather was warm, the streams were cool, new friendships came along. We caught some new species. The grayling eluded me this time, but I'm sure there's going to be another time soon. I'm looking forward to that immensely. That's the really nice thing. Even the chatter on our group has continued for quite some time, and I'm sure it probably will do. And that's one of the nice things about these trips, and everything I try and do within fly fishing is to connect people, create friendships, networks, whatever it may be, so that they're talking to each other. So that was really, really pleasing again. I love Italy. I love the variety of fishing. I love the food. I love the people. It's everything I want from a fishing trip. That's why I keep coming back to it. I love the place. I really do. Well, this has been another episode of the podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Thank you again for all the kind comments about the podcast and also about the magazine as well. It's deeply humbling to have people contact me and say they're enjoying what we're doing. So thank you for that. There'll be plenty more of these episodes coming very, very soon. Thanks so much for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Fly Culture Podcast, brought to you in association with the Voice of Game Angling, Trout and Salmon, where Pete is the editor.